and welcome to a special edition of Culture here on I-24 News. Today we're going to talk about the movies of the last summer and also look forward to the films of the upcoming fall. We'll talk about the box office blockbusters and of course the beginning Oscar race. To help me with that, joining me in the studio are Avri Rosen-Tzvi and Shai Ringel. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello. Hello.
What are we starting with? You want to look back at the summer?
Yeah, let's start with the summer.
Yes.
Very big summer for Hollywood. It was the second most highest earning summer in the history of the U.S. box office with $4.48 billion. A lot of money. Second only to 2013, which made slightly more. But for viewers...
Studios are happy.
I guess the studios are very happy. They got this money mostly from two movies, which we'll talk about, that put them over the top. But for viewers, it was an okay summer. There were some gems, but generally it continued the trend of the last few years of more remakes, more sequels, very few original titles. Yeah. When we get to the fall, we'll see there's not a lot of originality there, but that's a different story. Yeah,
so it's not looking like Hollywood is reinventing itself. It's continuing with the same old thing.
And why should it when it's making so much money?
That's exactly what I was about to say, because it's making more money than ever. Films are bringing people in. In general, were all films successful, or were there a couple that really brought in these big numbers?
No, it's really the two highest moneymakers, Jurassic World and Avengers: Age of Ultron, which really put it over the top, because the both of them together made worldwide. Jurassic World made $1.6 billion in the U.S. $644 million. Together with the Avengers, they made $1 billion together. So that's a lot of money. And Jurassic World was really the big winner of the summer.
Yeah, but we can't say that viewers haven't gained from Jurassic World. I mean, the film was a good film.
Me personally, I didn't like Jurassic World at all. I thought it was a very lazy film and a very lazy filmmaking. But it's an interesting movie when you think about the fact that it's a director that it's only second time as a director. He did a really small independent movie before Jurassic World, so he was just pushed in as this guy from the studio. And the fact that he didn't have a lot of power with him means that Jurassic World itself is a studio movie. It's a movie that was made not by its director, but by its producer, mainly Universal Studios. And
yeah, but you can't argue with the numbers. I mean, you know, the movie definitely
proved itself. Universal, as a studio, proved itself this summer. It proved itself not only with Jurassic World, but with movies like Straight Outta Compton, which made and Trainwreck.
They had very good successes this summer.
Yeah. When you look at the numbers, Universal had a phenomenal summer. It made the most out of the box office, and when you understand that, you understand that it's not the director's summer anymore. They don't have a lot of power.
But if I ask you about the filmmaking aspect of it, you're thinking that it's not a filmmaking year.
No, there are some movies that are interesting filmmaking wise. Trainwreck is kind of there, kind of not, but. No, this summer you didn't see a lot of big blockbusters.
Let's talk about Avengers for a second, because Avengers is you know, it's comic. There are a lot of cards at play when we talk about Avengers. It's comic books.
I love the Avengers. A lot of people didn't love it. People thought it was derivative and not as interesting as the first one. I thought it was a good movie. It didn't make as much as they wanted it to. It made $460 million.
Such a disappointment.
No, but you know, they want Jurassic World money. They want the big money. I would disagree with Shai, and I would argue that there were movies this summer, specifically Avengers, Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, and Mad Max Fury Road, of course, which were movies by directors.
I think that you mentioned Mad Max, so I gotta stop on that, because even though it is a franchise that's known, it's not something that came out last year. It's something that they brought back from the dead, basically, and they made a film that is not such a Hollywood film.
No,
it's something quite different, and there's good filmmaking there.
Mad Max is the best movie of the summer, by far. It's the movie that was made by a director who has a vision. That vision will be remembered for years. It's not like, if we talk about Age of Ultron, that movie, it can be really fun for some people, not for me, but I'm sorry, but it didn't have any vision in it. You didn't get like an image.
They were going through the motions.
Mad Max is a movie where you can see a vision of a director. You can see his invention, you can see his masterful work. You can see that there's someone who is imagining a new world, which is what we used to get from a summer movie. You would be transformed into a new world, and you will get your horizon open up, because there were two elements in work. There were a director with a vision, and we had a studio with a lot of money to invest in that vision.
I'm gonna jump ahead now and challenge what you said about it being the best film of the summer, and bring up Pixar's Inside Out.
Inside Out was an amazing movie. It's sort of like across the board loved by both audiences and critics. Pixar's had a few misses here and there, but this movie was really a winner for them, both in terms of the box office. It's the fourth movie there after the big winners we talked about in Furious 7, which was really successful. But you sort of see... You can't say that you can't see sort of the Pixar method at work. We do have sort of the auteur here is definitely Pixar and not just the director. But it works, it's imaginative, it's beautifully made.
Look, every story has been told before, but it's new characters, it's not...
Inside Out is really great because it's a story that wasn't really told before, when you think about it. They had some elements they took from here and there, but as a story and as a world, you didn't see that before. And it is kind of a director movie, and it is a writer's movie. Pixar are really, really good at finding good writing and giving them the chance and the scope to do whatever they want and to be behind them. For Pixar, it's kind of a new field for them, because this is not a movie for 8 years old at all. It is a step up to 11 and 12 years old, and it's a big change for Pixar.
Which is why I enjoyed it so much. I'm an 11-year-old, really, at heart.
They usually do...
I'm not an 8 anymore.
They usually do movies that can work at the level of the child and the level of the adult, but here they
really have a method of filmmaking which really puts their movies through the ringers. They go through 2 or 3 iterations of movies before they get to the final result, and so far it works.
All right, so that's I think we've given enough time to the summer, especially since you're so disappointed with it. Let's look forward to the fall, because there are some very interesting films coming up. At least I feel that way. We'll see if we agree on that. Avri, let's begin with you.
Well, so the big key phrase of this fall is based on a true story. We're looking for originality. We're going to have a lot of stories that maybe weren't told before, but most of them are based on real people, real life stories. That seems to be the catchphrase.
Well,
that seems to be like
sells,
Oscar bait.
Yeah.
Definitely. So the first movie we'll mention is Suffragette, a movie with Meryl Streep and Carey Mulligan. It's
Oscar nominee.
Oscar nominee.
For
yes.
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
It's definitely going to be an Oscar nominee. It's made by a woman director and a woman screenwriter. It's about the suffragette movement in Britain in early 20th century, and it looks to be it looks to be one of the big Oscar movies of the season.
All right, looks
Bleak and dire,
Yeah,
but you know,
depressing enough
women
to
didn't have the
maybe-
vote, so it was all black and white, and yeah.
yeah. All right, Shai, what are you looking forward
About
to?
that movie, this is going to be in the Academy Awards, the Year of the Women. And everybody is looking for the women who will win the award. So this is
This
really
might be
big
it.
nominee.
Well, it
the
could be
trailer is
about time.
nice. Everybody looks like there are already Academy Award nominees. So
We have a few interesting movies coming up. After that, we have The Walk, which is director Robert Zemeckis' sort of version of the true story and documentary.
Right.
Yeah, about the French guy Philippe Petit, who walked between the two towers.
Yeah.
And, we were having a conversation before about why make a movie, which was also a very good documentary into a fiction film. And I think that, Robert Zemeckis is an amazing visual storyteller, and he knows his special effects. And I think, as we can see in the trailer, sort of the views he can bring to this high wire act would be very interesting.
Yeah.
We also have the second biopic about Steve Jobs, titled Steve Jobs, where Michael
With also
Fassbender...
a documentary that came out
was
just
also a
now,
documentary,
right?
with Michael Fassbender in the role, and people were worried that it doesn't look like it. The trailer sort of dissipates any sort of worries about that. He really embodies the role. We have...
not only that, Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, saw the movie and he said that Steve Jobs he was astounded at how they got him.
Yeah.
And he's seen him
That
finally on
unlike
the
the
big
previous
screen. He
Jobs
hated-
film, this
Yeah.
is the Steve Jobs film. Yeah.
Which means that he's been depicted in that
an
movie as an real
As a
asshole.
prop.
Also, from what I understand, they are also focusing on the fact that he had an illegitimate child that he...
we see that in the trailer.
So they're not shying away from
Aaron
anything.
Sorkin,
And
who
Sorkin
loves
wrote
this
it.
kind of things, and Danny Boyle directing. Another interesting movie is The Danish Girl by two directors, amazingly, Tom Hooper and Lasse Hallström, which we remember from Chocolat and The Cider House Rules, and Tom Hooper from The King's Speech. And they're telling the story of really the first operated on transgender woman played by Eddie Redmayne, who must really want another Oscar because that really sounds it's a very interesting story. I don't know if it
From the trailer, it looks beautiful.
it looks very interesting. I don't know if it falls into what Shai talked about, the year of women, or maybe the year of not men, or the year of LGBT, the year of otherness and gender.
It's an interesting move, first of all, to put real big two directors in one movie. I don't know how they managed with all the ego on the set. She was a really interesting director back in 2000, and she moved back to Sweden to do a couple of movies there that were really interesting, and this is her big step forward again. And Tom Hopper needs to make us all forget the last movie he did, which was
He made something after
the musical.
Apparently he succeeded. You forgot all about it.
Thank God.
Maybe let's not bring it up if we manage to forget.
We also have Steven Spielberg coming back to the screen, teaming up with Tom Hanks for Bridge of Spies.
Not just Tom Hanks. I was waiting for this one. The
who do you want?
The script was written by the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
How amazing is this going to be?
I'm going to lower your expectations. The Coen brothers write a lot of scripts in Hollywood in order to push them and get a lot of money for them to make good
So you're
movies
saying that
from
this
the
is actually
best
something that they
scripts.
wrote and they were like, this isn't good enough for us to do, so we'll give it to somebody else. Who can make it? There's this guy, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, actually this is what happened, probably. Because usually when they have a script that they like, they write it for themselves to direct, and they make a lot of money to direct their own films by doing all those sorts of
It does look like
scripts.
an interesting film.
I think it's going to be. I'm looking forward to it.
We also have Angelina Jolie teaming up with Brad Pitt again for the first time since Mr. and Mrs. Smith for By the Sea, also a true story. And here are some movies I'm really looking forward to. We have Crimson Peak by Guillermo del Toro. He's going back to Gothic horror, telling sort of a haunted house story with Maya Vyazkova, Jessica Chastain, and Tom Hiddleston. The trailer looks really gorgeous and wonderful
We're seeing
visuals.
Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt at the
We're
moment,
still-
but that's
so
because and they're nicer to look at. That's one.
Crimson Peak looks like a really beautiful movie. We have The Martian.
That
which,
should be nice. Yeah, I just
science-
finished the book not long ago. I'm sure it's gonna be a nice one.
Ridley Scott maybe can bring himself back from all the bad movies he was directing recently.
Yeah, so there's a lot to
Weekend.
look forward to. We're out of time, so thank you, Avli, thank you, Shai, and thank you at home for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. There's a lot of good movies to go see, so go watch a few. See you after.